Hello and welcome. What did you say?
Virgin. When you say hello, it sounds like he's speaking.
Hello.
He says hello like he's 15 years of age and he's meeting his girlfriend's dad for the first time.
Which
What's your?
That's what I'm thinking. That's what I imagine when I see this camera.
Okay.
Right. Anyway.
Let's go, come on.
Hello and welcome to episode 54 of the Boxing Social Podcast in association with Betfred. Remember, like, comment, subscribe, all of that. Two men will be liking and commenting and all of that stuff. Is the esteemed panel. It's the lads are back. Unfortunately, I haven't got as many plants behind them as me, but it's Andy Purrowell and it's Barry Jones.
Yes, thanks.
The odd couple, as we like to call them. Big sesh today. How are you doing, Barry?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks. Yeah.
Are you actually?
Well, welcome to the super featherweight champion of the world.
Well, what? The what?
The super featherweight champion of the world. Shit, you.
No, he didn't. He's a lightweight. No, we should say Barry is the WBO or was the WBO super featherweight champion of the world. Andy, how are you doing?
I'm good, Dick. I'm good. Obrigado, Barry.
What's the best belt you've got? Actually, don't answer.
An Armani one.
Yeah, imagine.
Oh, Manny. Ooh,
Yeah.
Manny get paid too much.
Well, we've got a trilogy special. Because, as I'm sure we all know, well, you're going, aren't you?
Yes, I have to.
September the 17th is the third instalment of Canelo-Golovkin, which rolls off the tongue now, one of the great trilogies of our time. Tell you what, before we get into that one, let's just have a little look back on the first two fights. First one was also September 2017. That obviously they're doing the Mexican holiday, Mexican independence that weekend, big Canelo weekend. The first fight, Barry, how did you have it?
I had.
Don't worry about the score, but who won?
Oh, Golovkin won. He did. I was commentating that
Yeah.
night, and one of the greatest fights I've been to live. He won for me. No, he did. I know Canelo did a lot of good things and showed a lot of good qualities in that fight because he took some great shots, but there was only one winner. It was disgusting. Forget about the wide scorecard. It was just disgusting and all. And it felt like that in there in the arena.
Did it?
It did, yeah. It really did. No, I was sat surrounded by Juan Marquez here and this is about me, forget about the fight. Julio Cesar Chavez there. We're talking about just all these great Mexicans work for Mexico. When there's a big fight, Mexican TV have about 45 stations
Yeah.
who show boxing. So you got all these Mexican greats all sat around you. It was just unbelievable. But yeah, Golovkin won that for me. I mean, yeah, it was like, I don't know. I very rarely say robbery because sometimes you think a guy won, but you can go, maybe it was close. Like the second fight, maybe you can say, yeah, maybe. But I couldn't see anything but a Golovkin win. I think I had about 3 points or something, but it was clear to score. I think the rounds were quite clear to score.
What do you reckon, Andy? Did you have it? Will you agree with Barry on?
Yeah, I'm the same. I think I had it like 116, 112 to Golovkin. The first fight kind of set out the blueprint on how to beat Canelo. You have to try and hold centre and push him back. And Golovkin with that steel granite chin and the power he possesses, he kind of had the blueprint on how to beat Canelo. And what we saw with Bivol most recently. But yeah, I'm same as Barry, had it comfortably for Golovkin.
Two best chins in boxing.
Yeah,
Especially
and we saw that in that
maybe
fight.
Still, yeah.
Yeah.
Because, you've got to have a good chin to...
Yeah, because the jury was out a bit on Canelo and what would happen when he got hit by a middleweight.
By a genuine,
Yeah.
puncher at middleweight. Not just a guy who can punch a bear. A real thudding puncher. Great.
And then a year later, the rematch, Canelo improved, was better and a closer fight. How do you have that one?
Golovkin, again.
A
couple of points.
Yeah, so we should say the first fight, by the way, was a draw.
Yes.
And then the second fight, Canelo got the decision in a closer fight, one where there was less of a scream up, but still people like you, Barry, had Golovkin winning.
I had Golovkin winning, but I didn't think it was a robbery. So that was a difference there. Like I could see why you could think Canelo, though I didn't think Canelo won. I thought still Golovkin won by a couple of points, but you could see why. And maybe the argument was there for me there, but I still thought Golovkin was a little bit hard done by, maybe. But that's when I really started to think about Canelo, and I was saying it for years, but actually hasn't done it for a long time. He learned from the first fight and changed his tact, the way he boxed. He knew he had to push Golovkin back. He knew he had to push him back.
That's what made it such a great fight.
Yeah, it really did. But Golovkin adapted and used the jab really well. And I think they went over the quantity of the work. They weren't really... I don't think Golovkin's jabs got enough credit. Because CompuBox, which I don't really take much notice of, but whatever, some people do, but they don't score a jab as a power punch. I think that's right.
They have jabs, and then everything that isn't a jab goes down as a power punch.
Well, that's bollocks then, to be honest. No, it clearly is, like, because Golovkin's jab is a power punch.
Yeah.
And also, not every punch you throw after that is a power punch.
Yeah.
By the way, I think just look any one of my boring fights to see that there's not one power punch thrown. But then on CompuBox,
Barry CompuBox
if I throw
Jones.
50 right hands, I throw 50 power punches.
Yeah, that's why you got to always take that with a bit of pinch for salt. And
Well,
and also the person who's scoring them and the one getting hit by him.
yeah, I know boxing's subjective, but that it certainly is. So I think it can tell you the truth. People, it's handy, but you can't rely on that to determine why a fighter should have got a round or not. I don't think. I think that's what anyone involved in CompuBox would try and engineer. This is a better way of scoring. We'll do like computer scoring. That's ideally what it is. But it's not. You can't judge it that way. But the jab was fantastic from Golovkin. I thought it really did. And Canelo adapted. And I thought, well, he thinks and he evolves all the time. And he did for a few fights after that. He stopped it at Callum Smith. He just found a system then that he could just intimidate you with his reputation and his presence, and that's what he did until Bivol. But I thought he won the second. I got to tell you a story about the first fight.
Go on.
I love a story.
That's what you're here for.
It was a Box Nation, and Box Nation had loads of money, and we had the rights for that fight, and so me and John Rowland were doing commentary from London in a sound booth, which is smaller than this settee in Shepherd's Bush, but I thought I don't want to do that. So Alex Steeman was going there on a holiday to watch the fight. I spoke to Alex and I spoke to the Jim McMahon, who was the head of Box Nation, pretty much run Box Nation at the time, and he wasn't the head, but he run it. And I said, listen, I can get over there using my partner staff travel, who work for Virgin, and then I get over there. I can get myself over there for literally peanuts, and I get the cheapest hotel, which I got the Excalibur, the Excalibur, the castle, which literally. It's
a rite of passage, though, isn't it? If you go to stay, you've got to stay in Excalibur.
Except as soon as you walk through the door, you smell like an ashtray, like straight away. Literally, like my face just like it was grey with cigarette smoke. But so we went out there on the Thursday, just out there on a shoestring budget. They paid me back, but I got them all like they paid nothing to get me out there. And me and Alex had the best. We had better access. Me and Alex Steeman for Box Nation. We had no one else. We had no runners with us. No producers. No assistant producers. We had nobody with us at all. We just had the crew that are on the ground. They have a sound and technical crew, and that you sort of pay to use in the house people, and just me and him doing it ourselves. Alex, really, to be fair, he carried me, but up until the night of the job, then I carried him. But and we went on a road. We had better access with Box Nation than we did with BT Sport for the rematch. I mean, we had better seats. We had a better view. We had the camera right ringside, doing our little piece to camera, and the way in we had better access. He had the interview with Canelo. Alex Steeman did. He pushed his way to the front, bless him, and we had much better access and BT Sport. All the money they had to spend, and Box Nation blew out the water for what we did with them. Ironically, but yeah, it was a great trip. I gotta say, Alex Steeman went out the night before. He's gonna love this.
That's not like him.
He went out the night before, and literally it's got to be half hour before we go on air. He's in the toilet in Las Vegas throwing up in the T-Mobile. He's in the toilet like this. He's great. Then bear in mind, this is the biggest night of our career for both of us. Like, he's a horse racing guy like Alex, but he's good. His boxing knowledge is fantastic. But this is a huge fight. And this is the biggest fight of our career. And we're there and we're live, we're in Vegas, we had a great time. And he's great. He's great and he feels sick and all that. So just before we went on air, we sat there like this, just went there, and you always go, good luck to each other, good luck, come on, let's have a good job. You want to just don't mess this up. And I looked at him and I went, can I swear? I'm allowed to swear? I'm allowed to swear? And I've looked at him and I've gone, don't fuck it up. And like this year, and then we went live on air, and we were off and running, and he did a great job. But it was a great trip.
Well, we got
better than the fight. My trip was better than the fight, to be honest. I would say that.
Well, I remember after the second fight. I remember writing in my report that the third fight had to happen, obviously, and we would get it maybe instantly. Certainly not 4 years later. We've had to wait now for the third fight, which is a bit of a shame. And so much water under the bridge now ahead of this third fight, the trilogy fight. Canelo obviously gone on and become by far the biggest star in the sport, earned all this money, but for the first time is coming in off the back of a loss. And Golovkin was obviously beaten Ryota Murata, but looked like faded, faded version of Golovkin. Would you agree with that, Andy?
Yeah, 100%. I thought that, especially those first 3 or 4 rounds, he looked
A bit worrying.
Yeah. I actually remember tweeting I didn't really want to see the trilogy after I saw that Murata fight. It looked like Murata was going to stop him as well, so I think it's just teed it up. Granted, Canelo's coming on back off a loss, and he's a damaging loss. I imagine he's hurt him. And as Barry said, he hasn't evolved or adapted probably through the super middleweights, more so because other than maybe Billy Joe for a few rounds, nobody's really had him really thinking and making him try and work out how to counteract their best assets. So going into this trilogy now, I actually just think because of how much time has passed, I think Canelo late stoppage is on the cards. That's where I'd edge, yeah.
Do you reckon that? Because that seems to be a pick that is popular. No, but you got to remember, Golovkin never even been down.
I don't think he stops him. I never know, but I don't think Murata was close to stopping Golovkin. Golovkin's older. The longer the time's gone, it was always going to be better for Canelo, and that's maybe the reason why. Blame COVID. That's what I'm saying as well. Blame COVID for everything, but it helps him. Like Golovkin's older, and he looked ring rusty, but he was not in the ring for a long time before he boxed Murata. To be fair, so that ring rust is there. And when you're older, that's inactivity is worse than when you're younger, of course. So that didn't help him. But he still got the job done. Murata's an extremely strong, tough man, and he got him out of there. So I think it was a good job. He had a good job. I think the way Golovkin fights anyway, he wears you down. I know he has massive power, but he beats you up. So he will get hit from time to time. No, he wasn't destroying. He was, but Martin Murray, everyone has their successes against Golovkin to a certain extent. Murata hit him on his heels a few times, to be fair, but he's a big puncher. But I don't think he was going to get stopped. I think that was you don't return the ball. No, I didn't see that.
Yeah.
So I think because we saw him get hurt.
Yeah, we haven't really seen that before.
We saw him off balance.
Yeah,
we haven't seen that, and that could be to do with just not getting your timing right, or the fact that he is older and he's not seeing things as fast as he used to. That's another thing. Your vision's not as good, and you might just be getting hit with punches you're not seeing, and they're knocking you back. But I don't think he ever looked. He has that expression. He's always tired, Golovkin. He's always like he's going. Eyes are wide, like he looks like he's in a panic. But that's just how he fights, I think, because then he's blown out. He looks like he's blown out of his backside after round 3, but then you get the round 9. It's exactly the same expression, same breath and all that. So I don't think so. But I do think that Canelo, before Canelo got beat, the only thing that Canelo got beat by Bivol, it gives a different dynamic now. That what's his confidence like? I still think he's a huge favourite. This is the one fight where I think you can predict quite comfortable who's going to win, and it is obviously Canelo. But also, I would say this: them two will never be in a bad fight.
No, it's going to be a good one, isn't it?
We're talking about they have to box again, and they're the perfect dance partners. They will box in 10 years' time, but they're the perfect. It'll be a great fight to watch, with a clear winner, if that makes any sense. Yeah. So some people will say, "Why do you want to see it for? Because you know who's going to win. What's the point?" And I understand that, but it'll be a really exciting fight throughout those rounds. Even though I think Canelo will dominate most of it now, I still think and Golovkin will have his pockets of success, but I think he's just a little bit too slow of foot now in hand to trouble Canelo.
And we've been denied a proper winner in the first 2 fights.
Yeah, 100%, and it is still that kind of intrigue as to, because of what happened in the first 2 fights, people will want to see it. But just to kind of look back, when I listen to Canelo talk, it's personal for him still, and you see that. And the 2 fights at super middle, which were personal for him, gave Billy Joe Saunders a detached retina. I believe that was the injury, but I've busted his eye socket.
Eye socket job, yeah.
Sorry. And then Caleb Plant.
Yeah.
Stopped him in the 11th round, but that was just kind of he was dominating the fight anyway, for at least what I saw from that. I feel like this is one he wants to. If he doesn't stop him, he wants to hurt Golovkin. Like, he wants him to realise, like, you got to give me that respect.
It's not often you hear that.
Sorry, I would say though, you're right, and I might give him a little bit more edge to his work. But I would say that against Saunders, like, Saunders looked like he had success, but actually Canelo let you have success because he has no respect for you, because he got such a great chin. He don't mind you hitting him. As long as you're throwing punches, you're wearing yourself out, and I'm forcing you to throw punches. You're not throwing when you want, you're throwing when I want you to. I'm making you work hard, and I wears you down, tires you out, and you panic. And same with Plant. It took him longer, and he took a risk taking it that late, maybe. But no, in the end, he gets the job done. He knows though he can take a shot, and he's taken Golovkin shots. He knows Golovkin can punch, so he can't box with that same abandonment. So with that, all that anger issue and that much hatred, I'm going to go to destroy you, might work actually. You know, if Golovkin did show signs of vulnerability for the first time in his career in the Murata fight, then it could be a Canelo now with an impetus to want to go with that thing to really want to go and stamp his authority. That might work, but also if he walks onto a shot, he can get hurt. I think that's the difference. And also, if he does get hurt he got hurt against Golovkin before, maybe he would have felt it for sure. But he had such a high confidence and such a focus on what he's trying to do to win the fight that he just shook it off. And would he be able to say, no, the fact he just got beat by Bivol and got pushed back with punches, not physical strength. It was the size was a factor, most definitely. But he got pushed back with punches. After he landed his shots, how would his confidence affect him then? Oh, if I hit Golovkin now, he's not going to worry. No, maybe I don't. Maybe before he didn't care, I'll just keep hitting him, or I'll move around, and I'll move my jab, and I'll push him back. Well, would he worry now if he gets hurt and he feels it? Where before he shook it off, would he have a different mindset now because of that defeat? I actually don't think so. So I think I just wasted 5 minutes talking bollocks.
You carry on, mate.
Yeah, I will. But I also think that. I think it's a great fight to watch, and I'll do everything I can to get there. To be fair, because I want to, I covered the first two. I'd like to cover the last one, if not just the one.
You know what that fight's live on?
What's that mean?
You know what that fight's live on?
Live on DAZN. Pay-per-view.
Live and exclusive.
Well, DAZN did pay-per-view. I think it's a brilliant idea. I love pay-per-view. Certain platforms don't like it, but on DAZN I think it's great. And yeah.
What we do know is...
Hang on.
Go on.
So if you want to send me out, go on.
They probably would, actually. Everyone tweet, do the same old Barry Jones loving. 5 years down the line, we're basically, no matter what the result is, we're guaranteed, I reckon, a good flourish on the trilogy. So what we wanted to do was have a little look back at some other great trilogies. Ooh. So Barry, we got you to get on your top 5.
Yeah.
Barry Jones top 5.
Top 5, right.
So we'll do it, I'll tell you, I was going to do it in no particular order, but if you have an order in mind.
I think I have an order, but it's not.
Well, let's kick it around a bit. Some of these, yeah, let's go on. Let's go number 5.
Bowe-Holyfield.
Oh, number 5.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think for what it meant, it was a great fight. Like they were all good fights.
Yeah.
And the last one may be the best one, but I think, like Holyfield didn't look unbeatable, but he was on a crest of a wave, and Bowe was fantastic, but it was still a test for Bowe that first fight. Holyfield being the champion, and you had to make Holyfield a massive favourite. But Bowe
he'd just beaten Buster Douglas he was the champion by virtue of beating Buster Douglas, who'd obviously beaten Mike Tyson.
But he'd had some good tests before that.
Of course.
He'd been the cruiserweight king, Holyfield. But then obviously he had that Burt Cooper test at heavyweight as well, which was a great fight.
Smoking Burt.
But he had that test where he got hit with a big heavyweight who hurt him, but he carried on. And he showed what we would see later on in his career, how much of a tough and indestructible force he was for a long time. We just couldn't hurt him, we couldn't deter him. But Bowe was brilliant.
I think he was 2 stone heavier as well.
Yeah, that was 30 pounds.
Yeah, big boy.
But it was Bowe, literally one of the best big guys to throw an uppercut. Very few fighters throw an uppercut as good as Riddick Bowe. And for a smaller fighter like Holyfield was in stature, that's the best shot you can throw. But you still get in the position to do it, and what we didn't know with Bowe was how tough he was. And we knew he had boxing ability, and he could be the bully, and he could hurt you with it, and he had a beautiful jab, and he had the full repertoire of great skills. But at that level, you can be tough to a certain extent, but when you're in against possibly at that era, the most mentally toughest fighter in the division, maybe in the world, actually at the time, Evander Holyfield, will he break your spirit? And and also a younger man as well. A young man. And it was his first world title fight. And how well did he do? Yeah,
that 10th round, obviously famously, insane action. Maybe the best no knockdown round ever.
yeah.
Mad. Holyfield looks like he's out at the start of it, and obviously comes back in that round. Incredible. incredible action.
Just brilliant.
Yeah.
And obviously the second fight was known for
Fan man.
The fan man, wasn't
Yeah.
it? So it didn't
Bit bizarre, big break in the middle. 7th round he came in, he landed the fan man.
I think Bowe came in overweight. He wasn't in the
Yeah.
best shape, to be fair, but still, you know, he's still there. He's still Bowe.
Yeah.
You know, and you still got to beat him, and that, you know, so we still had that for Holyfield, and yeah, that fan man was weird, wasn't it? That was the weirdest. So it was. I didn't write down when it was. It was Caesar's Palace, wasn't it?
Yes, or Thomas and Mack.
Thomas.
Or vice versa, actually. Yeah, I think
Yeah.
the second was Caesar's
Yeah.
Palace. And then the third fight, Holyfield had lost his titles by then
Yeah.
to Michael Moorer.
Yeah.
So it was the context again had changed completely. But just another unbelievable fight.
Yeah, and you just tend to think that, how can you produce that again?
Yeah.
You've got what I always find mad with trilogies, like, well, the first one always wants to get the revenge, and the other one always wants just the money and thinks he can beat you because he beat you. But then the third one, I know you want to decide who's the best, but when the two fights are so hard, like we're all boxers, we all want to be brave, we all want to like show, I'll fight anybody. But I know what it's like. And then when you know, I've had fights where you know it's going to be hard, even though you can win. Certainly as an amateur, I know I can beat this kid, but I just know, like, it's just going to be so hard.
To actively seek that again.
I just know it's going to be 3 minutes of torture that I'm going to win if I box my best. But still, but at this level, for 12 rounds, the size, knowing you can get knocked out if you make a mistake, and still want to do it again. Well, by the way, you could. By the way, that was still was when at the era there. No, that's the start of the era where you can take a different route. Like, you can easily just avoid somebody.
Yeah. Well, he was WBO champion by then. It wasn't on the line in that fight though, and it was stopped in the 8th.
He just beat Herbie Hyde.
Yeah.
But
But yeah, came back. Holyfield, people said that was the end of him. To be honest, people were sort of writing him off before the third fight because he'd sort of slipped a bit. But it wasn't the end for him. He obviously boxed Mike Tyson twice, famously.
The last one was 95.
Lennox
Then he went
Lewis.
on. Yeah, he went until he went on until
Still going.
But he's still going.
Yeah.
No, what I mean, but I mean, he had a longevity of a peak until like 2005, possibly.
Totally, yeah.
Something like that.
Yeah. Okay, well, that's a very good start, Barry. Number 5.
Yeah, not bad,
By
was it?
Holyfield, yeah.
Number 4,
Go on.
Jeff Hardy versus Dennis Andres.
Okay.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Like, literally, not the two best fighters on the planet. Dennis Andres, by the way, couldn't win a British title. That's what. No one wanted him. Nobody wanted him. No, like the most ugliest style for a fighter. You look at it and you go, how can I promote this fella? Like, he can't throw a proper punch. He can't throw a punch. He can throw a punch properly. Couldn't. He just know to throw a punch. Then, so like, they couldn't sell him. Like, over here, he was based over here, you just couldn't sell him. You think he's not going to win anything. Southern Area title, you think he couldn't win. But just kept winning and kept beating people who were technically and reputation-wise were better than him. Just came one on. And then he went over to Detroit, teamed up with Emmanuel Stewart and the Kronk, and they just changed his whole life. Yeah. But then he boxed with Jeff Hardy, a young guy I think he just lost to. This is off memory. I've wrote things down, but this is off memory. I'm thinking that Dennis Andres had just lost to Tommy Hearns around about that time.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For the light heavyweight title, which, he beat a guy who's a welterweight, but Tommy Hearns is an all-time great. But then so he boxes. Anyway,
Is it straight off the back of that?
No, I think he might win the title back. And then he boxes Jeff Harden, who's like a 23-year-old Australian. Now, Australians don't produce loads of, they've great fighters, but not loads of them, and certainly at that weight. But what it was two crazily, horribly, stupidly tough, hard lunatics who you wouldn't want to meet anywhere, and anywhere with no good lighting, for that way. You wouldn't upset though. They would fight anyone, and they just went toe to toe for a war. Not just once, 3 times. Like, literally just battered lumps out of each other into submission almost. Like, just unbelievable. You got to watch it, everyone. Just to go, because these are fights that don't get seen.
No.
You forget about them. Because when you look on YouTube, you want to see all these great fights. I forgot about it, actually. But you forget you watch all these great fights with big names, the names you know, and you forget about these fights. This is world championship, WBC light heavyweight championship of the world, by the way. And in between that, because like Harding wins, and then the first fight, and then obviously he goes back to win the second one. Then Dennis Andres, and becomes a 3-weight world champion, a 3-time world champion, by the way. So this is a guy who no one thought could win a British title, and because of his ugly style, couldn't sell a ticket. Unpromotable, I think he was set. I think someone like Mickey Duff said he's unpromotable, can't promote him. So well, how can you sell this guy? He throws punches like this. Weird. You must have seen him. He's the weirdest style you've ever seen in your life, and he goes on to be a 3-time world champion.
Probably off the back, probably something to do with that. The fact that he was so.
Well, I just think
unorthodox.
I think we talk about fighters now is just innate toughness. And he dined out on that, but he went looking for knowledge, and he knew his weaknesses and his strengths. But he thought, some people they can't change, they can't make me the next Sugar Ray Leonard, but they can just make me a little bit neater, and it just a little bit of neatness went on to. But the Image had, and they just found each other.
Lovely. That's 5 and 4.
Good, isn't it?
Number 3. Then we're down to the nitty gritty now. I'm interested in your order. Third best.
Okay, yeah. Well, third best will be most people's first best.
Go on.
But this might be a weight bias for me, to be honest. But the third is Gatti and Ward.
Third best.
Yeah.
Now, for me, that's my favourite.
Yes.
For certain reasons. Yeah. But, okay. So the beauty of Gatti and Ward, I think, all 3 fights came within 13-month period,
I wrote that down.
Which is quality, isn't it? When you look at all of these, there's a lot of gaps.
Really, almost like a 12-month calendar.
Yeah.
It's just,
and they're all 10-rounders.
Yeah.
10 rounders.
Well, let's get it right.
Yeah, go on.
I've said this recently about Ward. I did something on another podcast for another company.
Yeah, don't listen to that. Sounds crap.
No, Mickey Ward wasn't really world class.
I think he had 11 losses.
No, Arturo Gatti was world class as a super featherweight and boxed world class fighters throughout his career, but always lost to him. Almost, but as a super featherweight, he was pretty good. He was a genuine world title. He was IBF super featherweight champion of the world, and so he was phenomenal. But at the higher weights, he fell short at world level. But it just goes to prove that you don't need to be like Andres and Harden in world class, both world champions, but don't have to be technically or physically the best to produce a great fight. Sometimes stars align and you meet each other. What Ward was a club fighter.
Yeah.
Who he beat Shane Erie over here, in the UK, which is a great.
Well, that was where he sort of rebuilt off that. He really built off the back.
Yeah,
of that.
Shane was a good fighter. Unfortunately, he won. He was on ITV all the time. By the way, he just had his title wasn't recognised at the time. It was an IBO, I think, one at WBU.
Yeah.
But it wasn't recognised as a genuine world title. Unfortunately, he boxed some really good fighters. But yeah, Mickey Wood came over and did the job on Shane Erie. That proved he was a class fighter. But you just think he fell short at that elite level. The word I hate to use, but him and Gatti, just two of the toughest people you ever to meet. Like Gatti was a guy who just box him. You can box him. Yeah, I'm gonna box him. The bell goes and what did I say to you? What?
But we talked about 10th round in Bowe-Holyfield, the 9th round in that first fight.
Yeah.
It's funny because you put on YouTube, you write either of their names. First thing that comes up is 9th round.
When you see someone get hit with a body shot, right? And you go, oh, then. I mean, I've gone like this more times in commentary. I see him with a body shot, then. Because if it's not the next shot, it's a shot after. Arturo Gatti was bent over. He was finished.
Yeah,
body shot.
It's unbelievable.
And he not only he fires back like when you hear damage with a body shot, you're literally going like this. You're looking for things like pillows and come here, you mate, and I'm going to cover you on my body. Because if I get hit again, I'm going to be sick, or I'm going to fall over and never going to get up again. And he just showed a crazy toughness. Like it was like this one. It was like top trumps of who's a lunatic.
Yeah,
all three the fights actually, but yeah, certainly that 9th round.
First one was mad. Second fight was a great fight, but Gatti a bit more of a clear winner. Yeah, box more.
Yeah, box more like he can.
Yeah, yeah.
Like he always could.
You could tell he just wanted to go back to that first fight though, but
yeah, of course. Well, he wanted to win.
Yeah.
The second one, you had to win. To make that third fight legitimate. You had to win. So he had to do what he did best. But he's boxing. Even though he could box, he's going against all his natural instincts to want to get involved. Because he was a real big puncher as a super featherweight. And so his whole life probably he was always being the bully in the ring, not as a person in the ring, and just bullying, knocking you out, hurting you. And then when someone says, "Oh, you can actually box," and these guys are naturally bigger than you, so you can box. So you can, and okay, yeah. But I don't want to do that. I want to do this. Is what I do. Like otherwise, I don't feel. He's one of those guys who think like a Gisorda's the same sort of thing. Unless I'm in a war,
Doesn't count.
Yeah. What they turn up for? What's the point in being there if I'm not going to do this?
Yeah.
That's what I come here for. I want to have a fight. And we all say, "Oh, I'll have a fight with you," but really, we're going to have a fight with you, but I'd rather not. He's like, I'll come to fight. And I rather would. I don't want to. What's the point? They're just crazy animals.
The third fight was June 2003. So, Andy, what were you, about 4 or 5 at that point? Literally?
6.
Yeah. But as a boxing fan, you must have heard of Gatti and Ward. That's the thing. It was just etched into folklore.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I've watched the fights. I can't give as detailed a breakdown as what Barry.
But it's because I would have been 15, and I remember that was proper. You know, when you're proper into your boxing,
I was 16,
you were about 16 at the time.
16 at the time.
And I remember that
38. Sorry.
that whole time, and then the third fight again, and just sensational again. And it was a bit like Canelo-Golovkin, where it was a rubber match at that point. But
yeah, but but like Canelo-Golovkin, you know, they also never had fights, great fights.
But by that point,
you couldn't pick a winner.
Yeah.
You know, if Gatti can box the way he did,
yeah, he's winning the fight.
Ward can't beat him.
Yeah.
But in the same fight as the first, which was fight of the year, but the third one, Gatti does what we just said. What Gatti does, what Gatti wants to do, and wants to be in a fight of the year again, which he was. By the way, the third was the fight of the year, and he decides to go. No, I think I'll beat you this way now instead. And
they famously ended up in hospital next to each other apparently that night, and you know, checking on each other and that. Mickey Ward made he never really made big money, club fighter like you say, probably 4 or 5 figures most fights, and he ended up with $3 million, banking $3 million in that 13 months from those fights.
Let's get some perspective here. So Mickey Ward came over, did a tour in the UK. So he never won a world title. He's known for this. He's known for fighting one person. So he comes and does a tour. I'm in awe. Like, I've sat next to Sugar Leonard, who was my idol, and I was more in awe of Mickey Ward. And I'm not. I boxed nothing like that. I was a dancer ready to live to fight another day, sort of, boring to watch. So I was more in awe of Ward than I was of Sugar Ray Leonard. I just thought, look at you, like
a different human.
Yeah, just a different breed. And by the way, his life story was fantastic. You know, was that?
Did he come over for the tour when The Fighter came out? The film with Mark Wahlberg.
Been,
so I remember interviewing him around that time.
Christian Bale.
And Bale, yeah.
And I think it was around that sort of time. Yeah, and they worked off the back of that. But it was just like, look at you. Like, you were nothing. You were meant to be nothing. Again, another great. But boxing sort of different from a lot of, not all sports. Yeah. Sports save rules of lives. Boxing, so many great stories like that. You were nothing. You're from like a really rough area of Boston. You were just you weren't that good either. Technically, nothing about you. Cut quite easy. You know, there's lots of things I mean. There was everything against you to make it, and he never made it to the top level. Never won a world title. Was never gonna win a world title. But he made a few million.
He was elevated from this trilogy.
He will never be forgotten for those 3 fights. So that's a success story beyond any imagination.
And I think that fight, great film. They don't get to the trilogy. That's how great the trilogy was. They don't want to try and sort of dramatise it or try and do it. They stay clear of that. But his story before that is remarkable.
It is, you know, and they, I know, bless his soul, Gatti's no longer with us. Yeah. But no, they were friends for life. Yeah. As long as one of
Ward trained him for a bit towards the end as well.
Yes, he did. Well done. Yeah. Heck, he did, yeah.
Yeah, remember that.
How crazy is that?
Yeah.
But you do have an affinity when you're like...
It's like Jamie Moore trained Martin Murray.
Yeah.
Didn't he? No, Matt Macklin.
Yeah.
He trained Matt Macklin for a bit. Or was it the other way around? Can't remember.
No.
You know, they had that war and then they ended up...
But you do though. Like, I had one tough fight. I got battered. I didn't have a tough fight. But every time I seen that Brazilian kid, I don't want to mention his name. We met each other in Sheffield when he boxed and he defended his world title, my world title. He took off me, and but I'm like, he was like, Barry, you know, look at me, and like, it's just you have that thing with people once you share the ring, and it's you've been like, I dropped him, you know, and he dropped me a million times after that, but there's something there always, respect or a hatred. It works both ways, by the way, but usually it's a thing.
Speaking of hatred, where are you going next? So there's 2 more.
Speaking of hatred, you know where I'm going next.
I got a feeling I know where you're going.
2 little Mexicans didn't like each other. One was middle class, one wasn't.
It's weird, isn't it? Because Mexicans, you put them together, they don't normally have good fights.
No, they got to fight. They got a box of Puerto Rico.
Yeah.
Haven't they? Yeah. No, but this is special.
Yeah.
Barrera Morales is special.
Interesting one, Barrera Morales. All 3 fights took place at different weights.
Yeah, super band and feather, super feather.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is an interesting one. It does show you the time frame and the
Yeah, it was only
weight.
2 years, which is part of the sensible thing,
about
really.
right, yeah.
But that great fights. Like literally, just you can't even count the punch stats on that. Combat box that, boys. It's unbelievable.
Yeah.
Because what you have there is like, so you got Barrera who's in the middle, like Morales hating it. So Morales is, you tend to think all Mexicans, especially boxers, come from poverty.
Yeah.
But Barrera didn't come from an educated environment, and I think he's middle class. But Mexico, middle class is quite wealthy, isn't it? But Morales comes from the street, like most boxers do. So there's a natural disdain there. You got a guy who can talk right, who's getting more pressed than you, and even though you're the undefeated fighter, in the first fight, both undefeated, weren't in the first fight, but you're. So I think Barrera is WBO champion, and Morales is WBC champion, but Barrera is getting all the press, and he's deemed as the better fighter. But you're thinking, especially back then, 2000, I got the title means more than yours.
Yeah. It's all in the marketing, isn't it?
Yeah. So he beats him because he wanted him more. It's crazy to say I wanted more than Barrera, but it probably was at that stage. It was, but then in the return, then Barrera.
So that first fight, that was February 2000.
2000, yeah.
So then the return was in the June of 2002. So you're talking good 2 years.
Yeah, but 2 years.
Just beyond.
That's only maybe one or two fights.
Couple of
between,
fights.
isn't it?
Yeah.
But then Barrera wants his revenge now, and then you see the animal in him come out all of a sudden. And he gives Morales his first loss. Now Morales got to swallow that. So Morales goes away in the first fight, in a tremendous fight, which is just like toe to toe, non-stop, brilliant. And also you get smaller fellas like that, Mexicans, who are throwing non-stop punches, but picking the target, picking their shots.
Yeah.
And not scared to get hit, by the way. They're trying to slip punches and they're in range, and they're throwing body shots, they're moving around the target, and they're throwing power shots as well, called the combo box. But I mean, it was just like
Action.
You sit there going like, slow it down.
Yeah.
Can you just
Trying to watch this,
I missed
boys.
that.
Yeah.
You got to rewind it. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
This is before you can rewind it. You know, oh, slow it down. I didn't see that. Oh, I got to watch it all again now. Never mind. I'll watch it all again. This is a fight. So you watch at the time. You watch it so many times you can't remember it. That's how much you watch it.
Yeah.
But then Barrera beats Morales now.
By the way, the return, not a bit in keeping with the rest, not the best of the 3. Probably the worst of the 3. As in, I say worst, it was still a great fight, but in terms of one and in terms of the trilogy, that was
The
by
first
far.
one was fight of the year, wasn't it? So yeah.
The middle one, a bit like with some of these other ones.
Well, Barrera thinks more.
Yeah.
I know he adapts more.
Yeah.
Morales, and I know.
I'm just do the same
I
again.
know
Yeah.
to beat you now. And by the way, again, when you're in great trilogies, they're lunatics and they do what they got to do because they know. I know what I got to do to beat you, but I know what I got to do to beat you is going to be painful for me.
Yeah.
But I'm still going to do it. So with the second fight, Morales goes, well, I've done it once, I'll just do it again. Because I wanted it more than you, or I knew I could take yours, and I backed you up a little bit more, and you could back me up. And all contentious, by the way. All 3, to be honest. But Barrera then thinks, well, I got to change it. I got to use a bit more of my boxing ability. I got to use my brain a bit more. And I'm not fall into traps and not maybe be as gung-ho. And so it doesn't make for it was still a great fight, but it doesn't make for a fight of the year contender now because it wasn't the same as the first one, but I do the right thing. But now for the third fight...
It's all up in the air again.
Well, Morales is stuck with this now. The guy I hate the most of all the boxing took my undefeated record from me.
Yeah.
So me beating him, first of all, means nothing now.
Yeah.
It means nothing to me now because you took my O. And that wasn't meant to happen. I mean, you were meant to stand toe to toe with me like we did in the first one. I beat you again, and then you go away. And I'm the Mexican. I'm the one now. So
that was fight of the year as well, 2004, I believe.
Yeah. Let's do it again.
Yeah, that one was incredible.
Yeah, fight of the year.
Yeah.
But because of that, because it becomes fight of the year, who wins it?
Yeah.
Morales.
Yeah.
So
it paid. Yeah, it would have been.
Morales never goes down. So I think even now, when we talk about great Mexicans, we put Barrera in front of Morales quite often. I feel. Though Morales had another great trilogy with Pacquiao, by the way, and who thought Pacquiao's number in the first fight. Let's be honest, didn't work out so well for him later on, but he was brilliant, Morales.
Went up through the weights as well, didn't he? Boxed Danny Garcia, I believe it was the last
yeah,
fight.
He was old.
Obviously, but
stupid, but he was brilliant. And
Yeah.
but that trilogy for me would be number one in my mind, because it was world class, world championship, genuine world championship, world class in every, and as almost as exciting as the Ward fights.
Yeah.
But there was more ability to it.
Consistent. Yeah.
That's why I put it above it, to be honest.
Okay, then, well, very interesting. Then what beats it? I think I know what you're going to say.
Of course, well, we're all going to say, isn't it? Ali and Frazier.
Yeah.
You have to, because one, they were great fights.
Yeah.
Which both of them literally went almost to their grave in the fight to get over the line, or not get over the line, as the case may be for Frazier. But no, certainly no, when he had his jaw broken, but Ali's jaw was broken, sorry, when he got put in the 14th round, sorry, by his corner. But
spoiler alert.
What? Yeah, just in case you haven't seen it. But what it meant.
Yeah. Iconography of it.
Let's look at the first one now. So Frazier's the champion.
Yeah, fight of the century.
Yeah. Madison Square Garden.
1971 March. Famously, Frank Sinatra pretends to be a photographer, so just so we can get ringside.
Exactly.
All these stories.
The Frank Sinatra got pretend to sneak
in.
Yeah. It's like, but for what it meant though. So Ali is undefeated, never lost his title in the ring. Frazier is the champion of the world. Obviously, Ali had the what you call it, the thing, the war stuff, and Frazier's the king of the ring now. Both Olympic medalists, by the way, for the USA. One after the other. One was 64, 68, and 60, 64. Sorry, and then they meet. Ali comes back, looks great, but this is the acid test for him, and what a fight it was.
Yeah, and the context being that obviously a very controversial figure because he had refused to draft. That was why.
Yeah, of course, yeah, and also his peak years, you would feel
he lost them.
Had lost.
Yeah.
Or so we thought it was his peak.
Yeah.
And we thought they were.
Well, what definitely happened, and we saw that in the Frazier trilogy, is that he was a different fighter when he came back. The 60s Ali and the 70s Ali, totally different.
Well, he was more flat-footed because he's mature. He's thicker set. And especially for a big guy, you can't maintain that fluency forever. He's always going to start getting thicker set and slowing down. But the heavyweight is more evident.
Who would have won, 60s Ali or 70s Ali? Against each other.
Against each other. See, there's more knowledge for the 70s Ali, but more athleticism for the 60s Ali. Oh, yeah. I'd say the 70s.
Ultimate fantasy fight. Rope-a-dope.
I think
slowed him down, drained him of energy and...
Yeah, he knew too much.
Tried to got to him.
I think I don't think it's clear. The 70s are the best era of heavyweight boxing there's ever been, ever will be.
And these punctuated it. The first one, Joe Frazier wins on points, drops Ali.
Yeah.
Unbelievable left hook. If you haven't seen it, go and watch it. The fact he gets up from that is amazing. It goes to show the chin that he's got, which
that
later goes
may
on
be
to
the
show.
first sign of. I know we've seen Ali get hurt before, and I know we've seen, but that's probably the first sign of real. Like he was more than just this great boxer; he was everything. To be an all-time great, you can't just be beautifully skilled or just have a massive punch or have both. You have to be able to dish your medicine out, and that's why people talk about Fury. He's not quite. I don't think he's quite in that level, but because he gets up off the floor. All those things. Oh, but he showed you vulnerabilities. But that's not about showing you. It's about how you react to adversity, to things when your back's against the wall, when you get beat, when you get hurt. How you react to that makes you great. And Ali, showed you better than most because obviously first of all he loses. Let's get that right. He gets dropped, he gets hurt. Everything, his jaw gets broken. Everything. He's in all sorts of trouble, and he doesn't shy away. It doesn't ruin him. Some fighters, once that mystique's gone, you're never the same again. That's what we should tend to. Once someone bursts that bubble once, especially a braggart like as he was, it takes a great man you're never the same again unless you're a great man. And he was more than a great fighter, he was a great man, and in the strength that he had.
Interestingly, he didn't go straight for the return, and it took 3 years almost for them to have the rematch back at MSG, and he gets his revenge.
Yeah.
And you've got to think it's one of them where, sometimes you wonder, do I go straight back in with someone who's beaten me? You think, well, actually, no, you need a bit of a...
Well, because what you know with Frazier is, like, how'd you beat him? I mean, how'd you stop him from coming forward? Because he's shorter than you and he rolls. You know, a tight defence, his shoulders are up on his chin. You can't hit him clean enough to really hurt him. If you do, he just keeps coming forward. And he jumps into the left hook from out of distance. He hits you when he shouldn't be able to hit you. And if you've got a beautiful jab, it's great. You need a good solid jab. But you need a jab to step behind. You need like a George Foreman left hand, like a ram bang that stops you in your tracks. Ali's was this beautiful, fast whipping shot, but it comes back to the waist. So for someone like Frazier, that's a perfect. He wants that jab because he follows that jab. When it comes back low, he just jumps in with it and catches you every time. If you're not with the left hook, with the right hand, he'll catch you with that. He'll roll underneath it, you know, and he can close the gap quick because he's coming back low, and your defence is not as tight as it should be. And that's how it works out for him.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but with Ali, he had that inner toughness and a boxing ability and a brain, and just to know when his hands go, and when he takes a shot to fire back, and show a toughness to push you back.
That was in 1974 MSG, and then obviously the ultimate third fight, the ultimate trilogy one, was October 1975, the Thriller in Manila. And there's sort of so much been said about it, written about it, documentaries, films, all sorts about this fight. It really is the one, isn't it?
Yeah, well, it's 44 rounds they share.
Yeah.
In total, in 3 fights. Couldn't do that today.
No.
Because it's 15 rounders. But let's see. But and again, another war of attrition. Like, from round 1, because it just continues from the last fight, let's be honest. And Frazier gets pulled out in the 14th round by his corner. Famously,
Ali said he wouldn't have been able to go on at that point. He said, cut my gloves off.
I'm done.
Yeah.
But how do you do... And okay, where they are in Manila, the heat, all that has an effect, of course. Yeah. But they just punch each other to exhaustion.
Well, Ali said it's the closest he'd ever been, you know, closest any man could become to death. And that's what it looked like at that point.
But what... And another of those biggest heavyweights today... So they got more movement, but you get little featherweights like me doing things like Barrera Morales doing things like that, and you go, wow, how do they do that? You get welterweights, the 10.5 stoners, the 10 stoners, you know, whatever, like welterweights do it. And you go, wow, how do they do that? When you get these big, massive, like 6'3" guys, like 15 stone, 14.5 stone, whatever they are, and they're doing it for 15 rounds, 14 rounds. Oh, no, that's not physical, that's mental. Like that's great people, and Frazier, by the way. Also, Ali's a great guy, great guy. What fortitude did Frazier have? Like, you know, just to go continue. I'm going, and he never quit.
No, he's screaming at Eddie Futch, saying, "Don't what you're doing." Eddie Futch famously said, "No one will ever forget what you did here."
Yeah,
we haven't. Nobody has. What we how many years on now?
It's true. Yeah,
unforgettable.
So for what? Oh, that's why that for me is the best trilogy of all time, because what it meant. From the first fight with Ali coming back for the Vietnam War, what he stood for, it was all about Ali. But Frazier wins. Yeah. Because he's better on the night. That's all that happened. Not by much, but better on the night. And I like that because the whole thing is about. I didn't like that. I won the round. I won at the time, by the way, before you start. But a lot of people hated Ali.
Yeah.
The fact that he was Ali now no longer Cassius Clay. That's a big factor of it. But And he's a draft dodger to a lot of people in America, I thought. So people wanted to get beat. But he's also a hero to millions as well, by the way. And he was the better fighter all round, the better to look at, he was the more marketable heavyweight than Frazier. He spoke better, he looked better. His style was more pleasing to watch to the armchair fan, into the sport. So everything about everyone really involved financially would have wanted, except for Frazier's people, would have wanted Ali to win. But he never won. And I quite like that. Yeah. But the whole story builds up fairly. We all think, especially in this modern era, we build a narrative to a fighter now. We build to a fighter to win. So we just follow the story more than we follow the actual fight now. Follow the story. We don't actually look at who's actually the better fighter. It's like the X Factor effect now, isn't it? Mm-hmm. You don't care who's the best singer. If you've got a better story, you should win. And that's what we think. And boxing's a bit like that now. You got a better story, you should win.
But in the end, it still comes down to the fight.
If you're not good enough.
Men, yeah.
And I'd say Ali's not good enough, but the fact is, Frazier won, and I quite like that.
Yeah.
But in the end, the greatest heavyweight ever lived prevails.
Yeah.
That's the truth of it. And he is the greatest heavyweight ever lived. Mm. technically, pretty much, but everything about the man, what he did, what he stood for, forget about it, just what about it. So what a box, just boxing alone, the toughness of the man. He showed more than just great skills and a great boxing brain and how to sell himself. He had everything. He could stand there and go toe to toe if he had to, which he had to. Not just that fight. He had a trilogy with Ken Norton. By the way, let's not forget that. No, he was a monster of a man.
Yeah,
didn't care
the
about
bravery
that.
and the rumble in the jungle as well, and that fight.
It's never ending, isn't it?
Yeah.
It was never ending. Went in with Foreman, like not thinking twice about it.
Yeah.
No, Foreman who literally lifted Frazier, the guy who just beat Ali.
Yeah.
Lifted Frazier off his feet with an uppercut.
Yeah.
Well, left hook him uppercut, wasn't it? Lifted him off his feet, like unbelievable that is. And you know, it's just a monster of a man. I mean, and just I'll fight him. I don't care.
I'll absorb it.
Because he had to fight him to get the rematch with Frazier. He had to win the title. Not like, no. You would box Frazier. He would have a rematch clause straight away, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
He would have won it. That's the truth, isn't
Definitely,
it? And then this would never have happened. Like all these things, like the Rumble in the Jungle would never have happened.
Down with rematch clauses.
Yeah.
Well, that's a very good trilogy. I mean, that's a good list. Now, Andy, what I did want to ask you about, obviously, everyone loves a trilogy. And we have had, and there was 2 heavyweight ones in there. We have had one recently.
You've seen most of them.
Yeah, you were at both of them. You were at 2 of the 3.
Yeah, it was at
I was
first
at
and
2
the
of the 3.
third one.
And I was at the 1 and 2, missed the 3rd. But there was a feeling, particularly the second one, that it was something special happening. The first one was obviously mad context. And a bit like some of these, every fight had its own story there. And the third fight, the way, obviously the action in it was just ridiculous in the end. What was it like being there? What was the sort of atmosphere like? What was the feeling about it?
The atmosphere
Did it feel special?
It felt special because everyone was just like, you just sat there in silence almost, because you couldn't believe that you've just had 2 unbelievable fights, and then you're seeing, so Tyson knocked Deontay down, Deontay knocked Tyson down, both of them looking like they could have been knocked out at any point up until maybe what was it, the 5th, 6th round onwards, when Tyson still had more to give and Deontay was just kind of clinging on. It was just unbelievable, and it was like I said, like I remember we was all just sat there, just with our mouths open, gawping at the fight. Just kind of, you like Barry said earlier, there was just swinging bombs, and you didn't want to miss anything, and you just couldn't take your eyes off it. Just in awe at what we was lucky enough to have witnessed.
It was it was almost a trilogy fight no one even wanted either. Remember? No one really wanted that 3rd fight.
I didn't say there was any sale point to it. Because, the second fight needed to be happening because everyone thought that Fury clearly won the first. And not just clearly won the first, I thought. And then Fury boxed absolutely fantastic. So the second fight, you just literally follow that blueprint to the first fight. Just don't get knocked down. No, but I mean, but that was feasible. He could do that, I thought. And I thought, so he's going to dance his way to victory. But all through the second fight, Fury saying, I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to go right at him. I'm going to bully him. And he's like, this is Fury, because Fury just opens his mouth and says whatever he wants to say and don't even listen to himself half the time. So I don't believe a word he says, because that's just the way he is. He just says something because he knows that people will listen and it'll be news. No way. Why would he possibly? He's felt the power of Wilder. Why would he possibly go at Wilder now and try and bully him, even though he's got a new corner? And why would he change the corner? That's what I was saying. Like Ben Davison did a great job in the first fight. If Ben Davison did all the tactical stuff for the first fight, if he did, I presume he did as a trainer, he did a great job. He did the right tactics to beat Wilder. He just
didn't get the nod.
The judges didn't see it for some reason, and he got, except for that last round when he got dropped in the middle, like round 7 or something like that. Yeah. But except for that, and the last round, which he showed a glimpse of his greatness actually in that last round. He was punch perfect. The movement was great. He wasn't the greatest fight to watch. But he did the right thing to do to win, like he did against Klitschko. He did the right tactics, the right fight to win. Don't care about pleasing everyone. I'll just win the fight the right way, because this is the way to win it. So the second fight was a fight we needed to watch. But he bullied him in the second fight. It was great. Just walked right up to him, bullied him, and Wilder didn't know what to do. He looked scared stiff, Wilder. You're going to walk up to me, the biggest puncher on the planet? Yeah. Oh. Okay, hang on. Then give me 10 minutes to think about it. No, I'm going to give me 10 minutes for shit, mate. And he just battered him. Yeah. And he did batter him. And I thought, Wilder's a broken man, typical bully in the ring. I don't want to say bully as a person. Now, once someone puts it on you, you crumble, you'll never be the same again. And that's what I thought. So there was no selling point for the third fight. Well, Fury can outbox him and he can beat him up. That's what I thought. But what a fight it was. So that year was the rematch, was the year for rematches no one wanted to see. That was.
Come on, what was the other one?
We had
Remind me.
Chisora and Parker was a good fight.
Yeah,
The first one was crap. The second one was brilliant.
Yeah.
You know, and there was another one as well. I think I can't remember who that was. It was like fights we didn't want to see. We ended up seeing some great fights, but that was brilliant. The third fight was amazing, and it's down to Fury because he decided because he could have done so many different things, but Wilder showed a toughness and a durability that I never thought he had. He knew he had to dig deep. He knew, oh, hang on, I hit this guy. He's not gonna. He gets up, and also he can hurt me now. I didn't realise he walk up on me, so he had to show something. Where I thought he could have just took that fight for the money and just fell over, and he never. And I think Wilder now is a more dangerous fighter in my mind than he was when he was blasting everyone out there.
You reckon?
Because
got that in the locker now.
Because before you always felt like once he gets hit, he'll fall apart. I always thought Joshua walked right through Wilder because he punches unless Wilder hits him first and clean. Because he punches direct and straight. That if he goes right at him in a straight line, where Wilder throws his looping shots, because Joshua got very good technique with straight punches, like conventional technique. So if he does that, Wilder will fall apart. No, he won't, because he's been there before. He's shown a durability, a toughness, a resilience in that third fight that no one thought he had, that he probably didn't know he had. He never had to show it before. He's always hit people, even if they were boxing him. Once he hit them, they all pulled their pants, rightly so. And he won. But in that third fight against Fury, like in the first one, Fury don't get scared when he gets hit. Doesn't get scared when he gets hurt. Doesn't panic. He gets up and goes, "Oh, come on in. This is what I want to do."
I think that 12th round from the first fight after the knockdown, Tyson even put it on him.
Yeah.
I think that just made him think,
Changed everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Do this in the rematch, and that obviously comes into why he's linked up with Sugar, because he's thought, I just need someone who will be a bit more aggressive with me and get that out of me. And it's just, it was an unbelievable trilogy of recent times.
To a lesser extent, I would say this one, Canelo-Golovkin, it's not the trilogy fight that we all wanted at one point, but it's still an intrigue in there.
It'll go down because the first two were so good,
Yeah.
and this third one will be good. But I just think we have a guy who's there's a clear bet in favour for this third one, and it wasn't for the first two. Maybe I don't follow
nothing. There would have been nothing.
But there's a consensus that the first two could have gone either way before they happened. Though Golovkin was probably the favourite for the first, and Canelo and probably the second actually. But you could see a way Canelo could maybe win, because after the first fight he'd shown he could take the punches. But though I didn't think he won. But this one now, he'll be an overwhelming favourite with every pundit and everyone else, I think.
Agreed. All right, Barry, thanks so much for your time. Andy, you too. Most of you for watching. Thanks for that, and hopefully we'll see you at the next one.